What's up, everyone? It's time for your Wednesday Daily Trucker News Update. I'm Carlin Stafford.
And I'm Isela. We have a lot of news to cover today, including a Law Enforcement Advisory Board, drop zones, and a Senior Citizens Appreciation for Truckers.
So, let's get trucking.
The ATA has announced the formation of an advisory board comprised of trucking industry stakeholders and law enforcement officials. The purpose of the advisory board is to provide direction on ways to grow and strengthen relationships between the trucking industry and law enforcement. The 22-member panel will meet bi-monthly and focus on issues including combating human trafficking, increasing truck parking capacity, ensuring driver safety at rest stops, commercial motor vehicle safety and security, and enhancing training for drivers and safety personnel. The ATA president stated no two groups have a stronger or more consistent presence on our nation's highway than law enforcement and American truckers. Now that's some pretty cool collab.
Well, a San Francisco startup is developing a business it believes will keep truckers from being held up at receiver yards. The company, called Baton, has raised $10.5 million to develop a network of drop zones outside of busy city centers. Here's how drop zones work. Drivers would drop off their loaded freight at a drop zone yard, and local fleets would then head to the drop zone to pick it up and deliver it to its final destination. And the driver who originally dropped it off heads to get their next load without any delay. Now, drop zones locations can be found in LA, but the company plans to open more in Atlanta, Chicago, and Dallas within the next year and a half. You know, that's pretty cool. And time is money to drivers, as it is to everyone. So it's great to see that there's a company out there kind of speeding things up.
Speeding things up. And I'm glad to hear and know that this is happening because, of course, I've got to visit with a lot of drivers and they've complained about, you know, hey, I can't get there in time. But when there's somebody there to help them out, they're going to get to put money in their pocket. A truck driver in Caddo, Louisiana had to be freed from his big rig that had smashed into a bridge. The driver's truck got stuck on an overpass beam as he was on Interstate 220 and Lakeshore Drive. The cab was seriously damaged and trapped the driver inside. The driver was rescued by EMS, who had to use the jaws of life to extract him from his cab. The driver was transported to a nearby hospital. No word on the extent of his injuries, but we hope he was soon released and back with his family.
Over the weekend, a tractor-trailer decided to take a different route that is notorious for winding dirt roads and typically requires vehicles with high clearance and four-wheel drive. Now, the driver took the North Star Mesa Road in Gila National Forest in New Mexico and got stuck, forcing the closure of the road and several others. According to state police, the shutdown could last until April 27th. So yikes, that is like the full month of April, and we're not in that yet.
What was he thinking? I don't think that road was meant for you.
Probably not. You know, you don't
He's
always.
Probably trying to take a shortcut. Maybe he wanted to see the scene.
I was about to say maybe a scenic route or something, but sometimes you avoid it and you just stick to the highways.
Yes, that's smart. A truck driver was busted when he attempted to smuggle illegal immigrants in Parasol, Texas. According to witnesses, they noticed an arm swinging from the back of the truck and then witnessed someone sticking their head out of the same opening. The witnesses called police and they quickly responded. When the big rig was pulled over, illegal immigrants jumped from the trailer and began to flee the scene, including the truck driver who tried to blend in with the fleeing immigrants. Witnesses were able to identify the driver based on his clothing. Several immigrants are believed to have escaped, but the driver is currently in federal custody. You can run, but you can't hide.
Well, check this out. A senior citizen is showing her appreciation for truckers by hand-delivering personalized thank you cards. Mrs. Beverly Perrin noticed the essential work truck drivers performed despite the challenges they faced during the pandemic. Well, we all know that if it wasn't for drivers, we wouldn't have food or anything else, really. So Beverly and her husband, Dick, took it upon themselves to hand out some thank you cards at truck stops near their Chatham. I'm not entirely sure, but it's in Ontario. To date, they have handed out 1,000 cards. The cards read, "Thank you so much for bringing supplies to our stores, even though it is sometimes under harsh circumstances. Take care, stay safe. God's blessing on you always. Love, Beverly Perrin, a grateful senior." That is a really great story, and a lot more people can take note from Beverly there. She is, you know, full of love for everyone, and it shows.
Well, and I mean, she's just letting the drivers know, hey, if it wasn't for you, we couldn't do this without you, or we couldn't have what we have. You know,
Exactly.
We would have starved, I think.
Well, that does it for today's update.
Tune in tomorrow for all the trucking news you need.